In the previous tutorial, we talked about reading one character from whatever the user has typed by using the function getchar. So just let's take a look at this program that we wrote in the previous tutorial. Today our target is to read multiple characters that the user has typed in from the keyboard. So let's try this now. So let's copy this read one character to read multiple characters dot c. Okay, that's the program. So read multiple characters is the program that we want to write, and so this is the original program. So now if we have to read multiple characters, one way to do this, say for example you want to read two characters, so you can just copy paste these two lines and print it here, paste it here. Okay, so we have copied over line number 11 and 12 and copied over to 13 and 14. So now as you can see, is it obvious that as we start executing from the executing in the main function, and when we reach line number 10 we get a character, and line number 11 we print that character, then again line number 13 we get another character and we print that the next character again. So I think that's obvious. So let's try running this. First compile this, read multiple characters program, and let's run it. So we'll read one character, and then when the moment we entered one character, see, we the, we would have expected that it would read two characters, but it didn't happen. Just after entering a one, it said you have typed a one. Then it says here on the message you have typed something. It's a blank, and after blank there is a new line. See, so what has actually happened is that after a one, you actually have typed a new line. In this case, you know so that the input was accepted, you tell the computer that we have given an input. So in effect you have actually typed two characters, this character 1, the character, the symbol 1, followed by a new line. That's why it says you have typed 1, which is okay, and then it says you have typed a new line. A new line means it's a new line, it's a new line. See, this, there is an extra line here. So even though it doesn't, it's not very obvious, but I think with this explanation you can clearly see that this read multiple characters are actually reading two characters. What happens if we want to read 3 or 4 or 10 or 100? Or suppose we want to read, continue to read characters until we don't want to type any characters anymore. Okay, so that's what we want to do. In this program, we want to read multiple characters. We want to continue reading characters until we don't, we say stop. We don't want to read any characters anymore. That's what we want to do in this particular program. So let's try this now. Okay, so we have seen that this copying over these two lines, line number 10 and 11, multiple times. If we copy it once, then this is the first, here we get one character, here we get another character. But this is not what we want. We want the characters to continue, multiple characters. We want the user should continue typing characters, and the program should continue telling us what character was typed until the user decides, okay, no more characters, I'm tired, I don't want to type any more characters. So how do you do this? So today in this tutorial we are going to introduce this loop statement, the while loop statement. Okay, so we are going to introduce the while loop statement. It's a kind of a technique where you can repeatedly go on doing something, and let's write it. Let's first write it down. Okay, so how does it start? It says while. Okay, let's delete these lines first. Okay, we'll say while, and then you put this parentheses. There are two parentheses, and inside this parentheses you put some condition. Okay, some condition, you put some condition. Let's later on we'll fill this dotted lines here, this dotted portion here. So this portion represents the condition. So it says while some condition is true, then repeat those things that are inside this curly braces. Okay, it says while, so let's look at this line, while some condition is true. We haven't written the condition yet. whatever, then it says if this condition is true, it's like a gate. It says, okay, then whatever is inside both these curly braces, we have to repeat that thing. Okay, we have to repeat that thing. So here we are doing nothing. Here saying, whatever input was stored, whatever get car returned, we just wanted to print it. Okay. So in effect, what are we doing? We are getting that input. We are getting that input here, here, and printing this, the input here. After that, inside this, because this loop will loop forever, it will never go back to line number 10. Okay. Once it has reached line number 12, it will go to 13, 14, then go back to 12, and 13, 14, etc. So this loop is going to continue, but it's never going to go back to 10, line number 10, where you have to get the input. That's the reason why we have to copy this line number 10 and put it here so that it continues to read. Let's remove these comments. It continues to read all the subsequent characters. So now you can clearly see that uh, this invocation of this getchar function here, this array reads the first character. This reads the first character, but this getchar here, which is inside this loop, inside this while loop, it reads all subsequent characters, all the other characters other than the first character. Okay, and now, so this is how this is the skeleton of how the program is going to work. Now, see, this condition is very important here. The condition that we want is that while the user goes on typing input, this program will say, okay, you have typed 1, you have typed A, you have typed whatever. So this program is continuously going to tell the user whatever character the user has typed is going to tell. But suppose the user says, I'm tired, I don't want to, type anything anymore. Then the user has an option. And let's write the code first. We'll say here, while input is not equal to end of file. Okay. EOF stands for, by the way, EOF stands for is equal to end of file. Okay. And what is end of file? End of file is a special symbol, is a special character that represents an input, represents the absence of input. When all the input is ended, then that special condition is represented by end of file. And how do you type it in your keyboard? You type it for Linux. Right now we are doing this on Linux operating system. For Linux operating system, you will use this key combination. You'll first type control followed by the D. Okay, control followed by this D character. Whenever you type this control D, this actually represents EOF. This actually represents EOF. So basically, what are we saying in this particular loop? In this particular code, we are saying while input is not equal to EOF, while input is not, this bang here is not equal to EOF, okay, is not equal to EOF, meaning the user has not typed control D yet. We'll enter the loop, line number 13, and we'll print whatever the user has typed in. Then we read the next character using this getchar function. We have already explained how this particular line works. Once that happens, we again go to line number 15 here. Okay, see this, there is a curly brace here. Okay, since this curly brace is for this while, it will again jump back to line number 12. That's what loop is for, is it not? It will go back again. It will again check the condition while input is not equal to EOF, and it will do this repeatedly. So let's try this now. Let's try compiling this now. Compile read multiple characters.c. Let's compile this. So compilation is gone through, and now we are ready to run it. So how do you run it? We say ./a.out. Enter. And as we enter, see the, just like in previous cases, it's blinking, waiting for input. Okay. Ideally, you will have to say printf, give some input, etc. Here we are not doing this. But you know that if the program is not terminated, when it's blinking, it's waiting for input. So let's input 1, for example, and then we put an enter. Enter means this new line character. Enter. Then what does it say? You have typed a 1, which is this, and then this, the thing that we cannot see, the new line. Then you say you have typed a new line. New line is this extra line here, this line. Okay. Let's type A then, and then it will say, you have typed an A, you have typed a new line. Because after A, we really typed a new line. For example, star. Okay, you have typed a star, you have typed a new line. So you can go on like this. There is no problem. You can go on typing all these characters. Say we, and it's not required that we have to type only one character and then hit enter. We can say ABCD also. It really EFGH. Okay, you can type all this together and then hit enter. Then you say, then it would figure out, okay, you have typed an A, you have typed B, C, D, H, whatever, then you have typed an enter. The same thing can happen for numerals or any character you want. It really doesn't matter. See? So it's able to, whatever input it has given, the input has been faithfully been stored in that input variable, and the program is able to identify and tell us the precise character that was typed. Okay. So now comes the scenario where the user doesn't want to type anything anymore. User says, okay, I don't want to type anything anymore. Basically, the user now wants to type end of file. Remember, end of file is not a particular symbol in the keyboard. You have to use a combination of multiple keystrokes together. And as you have mentioned, the keystroke, the key combination that you have to use is first press and hold the control key. I am pressing the left control key on my keyboard. And then while pressing that control key, you will have to hit the key, the D key, D for Delhi key. Okay, let's do this. We'll hold the control button, control key. While pressing the control key, we hit the D for Delhi key. And the moment that happens, we'll just see that the prompt will reappear, meaning the program has actually terminated. So let's do this now. So now even if you cannot see it, I'm holding the control key like this, and then I'm going to type D, the Delhi key now, D for Delhi. Let's do it 1, 2, 3, and you'll just see a prompt appearing. Okay, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, hit. Oh, done. And the moment that happens, this prompt has reappeared, indicating that the while loop has terminated. So you have just seen in how you can use the EOF symbol to actually terminate the user input. Whenever the user wants to terminate input, the user is going to press a Control D, indicating that the user doesn't want to type in anything anymore. So I guess you have understood. I hope you have understood this program well. The only thing that you have to really understand is how do you, how do you, is there a way to understand the function of this while loop properly? So we'll do this shortly now.